Hey everybody, Weston here with the Hidden Gibbon, back with another discussion video. And today I want to talk about something a little interesting. So, we've all had those games where we roll up, pre-game conversation happens, everybody's like, we're agreeing on a bracket 2. We go ahead to have ourselves a bracket 2 game. Everybody says, yep. I go, yeah, I got bracket 2. I got my bracket 2 Monkeyazzo right here. Somebody says, oh, I got my bracket 2, we're going to say Janara deck. And player 3 is like, oh yeah, I've got my bracket 2 Sig River Cutthroat deck. And then the last guy's like, yeah, I got my bracket 2 deck. Okay, everything seems good, all right? Go to get into that game. People unbox. People start playing. Player 1, 2, 3, all going well. Player 4 combos off on turn 3 and obliterates the game. Pub stomps it, if you will. And that's something I have actually encountered quite a bit. Specifically in Spell Table, but sometimes in Paper Magic as well. And so I kind of wanted to talk today about pub stomping and how it makes you a worse player. Not from a moral, I'm not even talking about from a moral standpoint, but pub stomping makes you a worse player at Magic the Gathering, or at very least stifles your growth. So let's get into it. I know there's somebody already in pitchforks like, bro, you're just bad. Admittedly, I'm not the best Magic the Gathering player in the world. I've never won a Pro Tour. I've never won Worlds or anything like that. I have participated in Legacy tournaments before. Didn't do overly well. I was young and learning the game on a competitive level. But pub stomping. All right. So here, I've got my Azusa deck. This is probably the most optimized and tuned deck that I have. It is technically bracket 3 because of a singular card. Natural Order. It's the only one in here. Maybe Crop Rotation, actually. Do we have Crop Rotation in here? It doesn't even look like we have Crop Rotation in here anymore. So we have a singular game changer, making this deck bracket 3. This deck, so say I take this out. I turn it into another one of my forests. If I walked into a bracket 2 deck, or a bracket 2 game with this deck, taking Natural Order out, I would be pub stomping left, right, and center in that pod. I have played this deck with and without Natural Order. This is kind of a new addition into the deck. Everywhere from bracket 2 to bracket 4. And I have found that the best place for it are high bracket 3 into mid to high bracket 4 games. It is, like I said, very powerful. I have managed to Genesis Wave for 36 on like turn 3, turn 4. Yeah, it gets nutty. And sure, sometimes it's fun to just win a game really quickly. But it doesn't make me any better as a player. Like, if I brought this into a bracket 2 game right now on Spell Table, does this make me a better player by playing this and going off that quickly? No, not really. I'm not having to think, I'm not being challenged, etc. And this deck, where I find that this deck is actually like challenging to play is those high bracket 4 games, or sometimes, you know what, I'll walk into the Valley of the Shadow of Death with this deck into playing some casual CDH games at local LGS or on Spell Table just to see how I can hang. And I'll tell you, although I haven't won any of those ones, I have gotten very close, like extremely close. And this is actually my highest win rate deck when it comes to, I keep track of Spell Table games and try my best to keep track of paper games for when we play. And this one has about a 60% win rate. That's way above average. You should be winning about 25% of the time, all things equal in Commander. So why does pub stomping stifle your growth as a player? Well, human beings are problem-solving creatures. We are. My education background taught us that one of the main things that really causes humanity to grow as a society is our reaction and overcoming of challenges. If you take an easy route where there is no challenge, you never have to evolve, if you will. You never have to think. You never have to really problem solve. Adapt is the best word for it. If I played this in low bracket decks, one, people at my locals would probably stop playing with me. And two, I'm not really learning the through lines on different things. One of the most amazing and fun things for me is learning through lines. The lines to win. You know, this is a pretty non-interacting deck. It does its game plan. It goes straight forward. But the higher I go in brackets, the more I have to think about what cards and what strategies I have to watch out for. What might impede me? What might cause me to get blown out? What might stop the advancement of my game plan? If I'm pub stomping and know that nothing's going to stop me, might struck my ego, but it's not going to help me win those challenging games when they do come up. And I will say, the thing that made me the best and gave me the most skills at Magic the Gathering was actually playing on a competitive level, if I can get the deck box open, which it crunched those sleeves a little bit, was playing at a competitive level in Legacy. I played Legacy 12 Post. And so Legacy, the deck that I played, I haven't played in many years, I still keep the deck together, is 12 Post. And it relies heavily on non-basic lands. So, although it was really powerful and it felt really good to play test against my buddy Dewey because he was playing blue-white control, I could just have Magical Christmas Land all over his deck, have no real clock, and just win. And it wasn't doing him any good or me any good to play that matchup. The matchups that I really needed to play more of and ended up doing were things like Delver and Death and Taxes. High impact decks that could really, really cripple my game plan. Things with, land destruction. Wasteland was a big thing. And playing against decks that had Blood Moon in them, because Blood Moon can be a blowout. And by playtesting against those, and by having those blowout matches where I just get absolutely curb stomped into the ground by, Blood Moon or Wastelands, I learned. I tried out some different cards. I tested, and it made me a better player. I didn't overextend sometimes. I didn't lead off with that turn 1 Cloud Post, and instead led off with a turn 1 Forest or a turn 1 Glimmer Post, just to bait out, see what the opponent had. Always having this mentality of challenging yourself is a good way to grow as a player. Now, I don't have any concrete data for you and stuff like that. When it comes to how much better will it make you as a player, I can only tell you from personal experience as somebody who has played Magic for, at this point, oh my goodness, well over 20 years. Somebody who started out absolutely terribly at Magic. If I didn't have those challenging games, I would not be the player I am today. And I'm not a great player. But I can tell you that I would say I'm up, above average on my good days, right? Getting up there, and stress and all of that sort of fun things and lack of sleep do take their toll. But playing those games, especially like in my normal pod with friends. So the normal play group in my pod of friends is Mitch, who, comes on the channel when he has time. He plays Kresh. It's bracket 3. Lots of Reanimator, counters, big explosive strategies, things with fling. Then there is me. I've got 67 and counting commander decks. I play all sorts of strategies, power levels, etc. My friend Aaron Dean, who plays bracket 3, he has a lower power bracket 3 Ulash deck. He has a higher power Vishkal deck and a higher power Aurelia, like the original Aurelia, the multiple attacks Aurelia. And then there's Jason, who only has one deck. And he has a $15,000 Norn the Wary deck that is definitely able to win CEDH games and is at very minimum the very highest of bracket 4 decks. I will still march my bracket 2 T and Law deck that I just built into those matches like it's the Valley of the Shadow of Death, because I don't want to test my deck against something that is just going to roll over like a precon. I want to test my deck against the very best because it helps me optimize. It helps me find the holes. And sure, I'm going to keep that deck to be a bracket 2 or a bracket 3 or whatever I'm building. But it's going to help me optimize within those bracket tiers, because challenging yourself against those powerful decks is going to really, really highlight the weaknesses in where you built in your deck. And despite the fact I run a deck tech channel, I am not the world's foremost authority on building decks. I still do make mistakes from time to time. Sometimes I don't get mana bases 100% correct. But testing these decks against people who have much more powerful decks, or even at a table where we're paired equally, really exposes those things and has shown me a lot of different mistakes I make in play patterns. I used to be like your average newer Magic player back in the day, where I would dump everything out onto the board and then it would get wrathed away. Overextending. Don't overextend. That's a lesson you have to learn. You don't learn that if you're winning on turn 2 or turn 3 because you're bringing what could hang with a bracket 4 into a bracket 2. Ultimately, pub stomping, it stifles your growth. It really does. And I would urge you, if you're one of those folks that's like, yeah, I'm going to get these guys. I'm not pleading to you on a moral level because, you know, everybody can argue morals. Or morals are subjective. And although I find pub stomping to be not the greatest thing in the world, you know, not good for play experience, I'm coming at you from a skill expression level. Playing challenging games against decks that are at your tier or even higher will make you a better player. It will make you a better deck builder, and it will actually end up being pretty fun when you find that you're having to overcome challenges and solve puzzles. Let me know what you think of this in the comments down below. I know this one's kind of a little, you know, different than my normal ones, but I really truly believe that having challenging, interacting, and fun games where you are on a level playing field or even at a slight disadvantage bring a lot more challenge and ultimately growth to you as a player. But, like I said, let me know. As always, I'm Weston with the Hidden Gibbon, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.